Well, hello. My name is Jennifer Casa-Todd. I am an educator, author, keynote speaker. I'm currently working with pre-service teachers at Lakehead University, students who are in their first year of Teachers College. So that's been really exciting. I'm a Google innovator, GEG leader, so do some work around Google tools with teachers. I'm also on the Canadian School Library Association on the board. Love. I feel like even though I'm not a librarian, a school librarian anymore, that's my passion. And that's how I stay connected to that community. So it's a little, and a mom, of course, 2 kids and a wife. So that's me.
And a wife to a home cook or a professional chef or home cook?
Yeah, so he started off as a professional chef, and then I wrote his application to Teachers College because I was like, hospitality hours versus teacher hours don't really work. So he taught culinary.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the show, Jen.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Now, you just dropped something.
I did.
Hold it up. Talk about it. Go for it.
So it's not just me. This book is really just a passion project. It's very unique. It is called Hopes for School, a student's perspective and ideas for educational transformation. And what's so unique about it is it's written by a student. She started writing it when she was in high school.
I did not know that.
Yes. So she started writing it when she was in high school. And then, so she writes her perspective, and then I read it and reflect on it and offer my perspective as a veteran educator. And then we have a couple of idea spotlights throughout and other student spotlights throughout. So it's a uniquely formatted book, and I'm super excited that it's in the world.
Okay, well, Hold on a second. There we go. So, congratulations to you. And
thank you.
Whoever the student is.
Her name is Karen Fan, and she's a student from California, and we've never met in person.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. So that's on my bucket list, to go and find her and have a book launch together.
That's kind of top of the list there.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I would do that. I would definitely do that. So congratulations on that. And then the idea for that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Before we actually get into the questions and the conversation, happy Canada Day.
Thank you.
Okay. So where exactly in Canada are you situated?
So I'm just north of Toronto in the province of Ontario. And I have to say, it's very odd to be in the U.S. on Canada Day. But I am wearing, as you can see, I'm repping red and white.
Yes.
And it's been fascinating because I've seen other people in red and white. And I'm like, are you from Canada? And they're like, yes, I am.
Okay. Nice.
So we're the question today.
All right. Sounds good. Well, happy Canada Day, not only to you, but anyone out there. And if you're listening to this after the fact, well, yeah, you're obviously listening to this after the fact. So just know that July 1st is Canada Day.
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Now, student voice.
Yes.
When I hear the term student voice, there's a couple things I think of. One of them being Flipgrid. Rest in peace. How would you define student voice, specifically in a classroom?
So for me, we are amplifying student voice when students have a say in their learning. And that might be in a variety of different ways. So it's getting their feedback on some of the lesson planning, getting their perspective on what we can teach. The curriculum tells us what we can teach, but in terms of how we go about it, there's so much opportunity there to pick, if I'm doing a variety of texts in an English class, to find out where my kids are from, right?
Yeah.
Where their cultural connections are, to be able to bring that there. Basically, anywhere you're working with students, you allow them, or you're making decisions on behalf of students, you allow them to have a say or a voice.
Okay. If I'm going into a classroom, let's say I'm an administrator and maybe I'm doing a real quick walkthrough.
Yep.
What should I look for to spot student voice?
Well,
student voice.
Yeah. Well, certainly that students are doing more of the talking than the teacher is. That's 100% very, very important. That there is an opportunity at the end of the class to reflect, not like on their what they've learned. We know that metacognition is very, very powerful. So students responding to what they've learned and how they might apply it in a variety of different contexts. I think that really validates their own voices and their own identities. But also, as I said before, students feeling, or you get a sense, one of the ideas, well, let me step back for a second. One of the idea spotlights in the book, for example, is my friend, Rob Canone. I say friend, he was my former student, who does fabulous things in the classroom. And he created something like class committees.
Oh, okay.
And so I was chatting with his kids about the class committees, and he has like a public relations committee where they update the blog and create social media posts. And he has an eco committee, and he has a tech committee, all these committees. And when I talked to the kids about the impact that this had on them, they said, we feel like we're like a big puzzle, and each of us is a piece of that puzzle. And so if one of us was missing, the puzzle wouldn't be complete. Isn't that beautiful?
It is.
So having kids feel like they are invested in and a part of something, which is their classroom, and that they feel valued.
Okay. All right. What are some creative ways you've seen that done in a classroom?
Well, certainly the classroom committees is an example. Also, I mean, some of the things that I've done is I always make sure that when I'm done a unit, I will ask kids, keep it, ditch it, tweak it.
Keep it, ditch it, tweak it. All right. Talk to me more about that.
So first of all, you have to establish relationships with kids for them to be honest about it.
Yeah.
But then what is it about this unit that you really enjoyed that we should keep? What is it about it that you really disliked and we should get rid of it? Or what is it about this that you would like to see changed? And then it's not enough to do that, because I think we give out these student feedback surveys, or we have, climate surveys, but then enacting it and being transparent about the fact that, okay, so when we did this survey, you thought we didn't have enough time to work in groups to contribute to this. So this time, I want to make sure that we do that. Is this realistic? And then kids go, she really listens to us, and she implements what we're saying. I'm going to be more honest next time.
All right.
And again, they feel like they're a part of it. So, I mean, that's certainly one of the many examples where we could very easily do it. And that positively impacts me too, because then when I'm creating a lesson, I now have the perspective of the students to know what needed to change. Like, we're in the business of students learning. If they're not learning effectively, then what do we maybe need to do differently in order to ensure that we are meeting them where they are in terms of learning?
I like that a lot. That's interesting. What is your education background as far as like what you taught?
So I began my teaching career in media literacy, and in everything that I write and everything that you hear me talk about, you're going to hear me talk about media literacy in some way. Yeah. Digital media literacy, AI literacy lately. So I started there, and then I was an English teacher for many years. Many years where I made many bad choices.
Isn't it insane? Like when you look back at things and you're like, if I could just go back.
Yes.
Man,
I think there's a line
really hard
in
on
here.
ourselves.
Yeah, there's a line in here that says if I could go back and apologize to every student, you know, when I made them do homework that is busy work, right? Like, what did you feel that homework was valuable? Yeah. Why or why not? How could it be different? Like, all I had to do was ask that question. Instead, I gave them like 50,000 chapter questions. Anyway, that's a whole.
Yeah, my regret, if I could go back, is like for spring break, I would give them a packet.
Right.
I would give them a packet, and it was like, I knew I wasn't going to grade it. You know, it was. Yeah. So it was just one of those things where it's like, oh, gosh. So. And
that doesn't honor kids and their lives outside of education. So I think that's really important. Anyway, and then I moved into a district role. I was at the district level. We had 55,000 students, 108 schools. I was the literacy consultant, and then I was lucky enough to be involved in an educational technology rollout, which was so amazing. So we had teams from all 108 of our schools come out And it was very learner-centered as well. Like, I've always been about amplifying the voices of the learners. So we were like, okay, so we started with, this is what we're learning Google because we're implementing Google, and we have iPads, and let's learn about how the iPads work. But then where do you want to go from here? And then we ended up empowering these teams to then go back to their schools and help their own teachers, but then also showcased and shone a light on them. And that was really powerful. But then I missed kids.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I need to get back to a school. And the school librarian role was exactly what I was looking for. It had technology integration, like in an intentional way. It was co-planning, co-teaching, co-assessing, because I had learned so much in my literacy role, like in my consultant role, about assessment, all the things that I should have done to begin with. And then love of books and relationships with students. So then I became a school librarian, and now I'm working with pre-service teachers.
Okay.
So I've done lots of different things. And at the high school level, I mean, English was my forte, but I taught co-op and special education and religious education and Italian, because I have a double major in English and Italian.
Really?
So yeah, I was able to dabble a lot, which was fun.
Okay. All right. I'm glad you said the size of your district that you were in. That's pretty large. Like, the district that I'm in is pretty close to probably 55,000. However, we're 63, if not 62 brick and mortar buildings. You had 108, it sounds like.
Yeah.
In a district, in an organization that size, getting the mind shift to student the look you said, the look you had said it all. Okay. Talk to us about the difficulties and the roadblocks, and maybe the ahas and the great turnover, if need be, in a good way, of getting that culture shift to have as many people as possible join ship for student voice and amplifying student voice.
So I think when you said mind shift change, that is essential. So once upon a time in Ontario, there was a student advisory sort of thing, and their logo was nothing about us without us. That is so powerful. Nothing about us without us. So at the school level,
I want my voice heard.
When we're making decisions for students and about students, at what point do we ask them? At the district level, so I was part of the district creation of AI policies.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm a part of that in my district as well.
And you know me, I was sitting, I think they regretted asking me. They did, because I said, when are we bringing student lens and student voice into this? And they said, we're not ready for that yet. And I'm like, we should have done that from the beginning.
Because they're already using it.
Exactly. So for me, it's how do we help educators, leaders, district leaders, school leaders understand that when students are asked to sit at the table, their contributions are not just valuable, they're invaluable.
They're essential.
They're essential.
Yeah.
Right? Because we don't think like students. We never could. Like,
no.
They bring a different perspective that we need to have at the table. And so when I was working at my school, I was very lucky. My principal, at a variety of different ways would have focus groups with kids. We had an anti-bullying committee, and I said, why don't we get the kids? Why don't we engage in a design thinking process and have the kids address some of the issues that they have with technology? So that's what we ended up doing. I worked with a business leadership class. We sat down at a table. We said, okay, what do you think our younger students need? And the kids created workshop or lessons that they then went out. These were kids in grade 12 that they went out to teach to our grade 9 kids. That was so powerful, because all of that came from not what I as an adult am telling them digital citizenship looks like, the ethical responsible use of technology looks like, digital well-being looks like, social media comparison looks like. I mean, I can't even, the number of of topics. Like the topics were so varied and so amazing. And then those kids went out and taught grade 9s, and the grade 9s really listened to those kids because they were their peers. So it hits
different when it comes from a student and it comes from a peer, or somebody from their age group.
It absolutely does. So it's about shifting your mindset to say, what is it that we could involve kids in to get not just their input, but like make them part of the process.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my question was kind of like 30,000 foot view of the entire district on 108 brick and mortar buildings with 55,000 plus students and plus staff and faculty.
Yeah.
If we do the opposite and we focus on the classroom level within the realm of our control.
Yes.
How can a teacher in their four walls start maybe incorporating student voice and choice into the classroom? So how can let's say pre-service year 1, hey, how are you? Well, you're officially on a podcast now. How can a teacher take that and say, okay, I'm going to involve the students in the decision-making processes and things like that. So how can that how does that look in a classroom?
So I would like to, for that question, just bring us back to the research of Dana Mitra, which interestingly Karen brought up because she was researching student voice. But I have been just a fan ever since I did my master's in curriculum and technology with a focus on student voice.
Got it.
She talks about a hierarchy of student voice, and at the bottom is listening, in the middle is collaboration, and at the top is leadership. And so listening, an example of that would be what I shared, right? Like the ditch it, keep it, tweak it.
Okay, ditch it, keep it, tweak it.
I'm asking students for their input, and they are responding to me, but ultimately as a teacher, like I'm listening to it as feedback, and then I'm implementing it or not, and that's listening. So I'm listening to them.
So boom, that's your base.
Your base, right?
Okay.
So and this is not like, this is good, better, best.
Yes.
Right? So good, like that's still really good. Kids will feel like you are valuing their voice if you listen to their voice.
They're being heard. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
But ultimately, I'm going to make the decision.
Ultimately, as a teacher, I'm making the decision.
Correct.
The collaboration, a couple of different ideas. So there was, when I was in a teacher librarian role, there was an art teacher. She wanted to create like a place where kids could put their artwork. And there was a student who was using Tumblr at the time. And so we invited her, right? Back in the day.
TUMBLR.
Yes,
Tumblr. Wow, that's a minute, yeah.
So that's a couple of years ago, right? But just the example is amazing. It's the most prominent example I can think of. So we had a co-planning session where the student talked to us about Tumblr and how she used it and how it would be beneficial for this particular class's portfolio. And then we said, okay, let's structure this. So with her collaboration, we created this lesson. And then I didn't help her put it together. She then went on and was supporting the students with that particular platform. So that was collaboration, but it was also leadership when she took over.
When that student said, okay, I'm taking charge here.
But leadership then is also that example with the design thinking, right? Where kids actually, like design thinking is a great example of student leadership because they're choosing their route to get at the expectations.
Correct.
Right? They have agency. They're making decisions, and then
they're
you're
hooked,
supporting
they got the buy-in.
them.
Exactly.
You are there to facilitate and support where they're going with resources.
Okay.
So that's a great example of leadership. The example that I talked to you about in terms of the classroom committees, those are kids doing their thing with the teachers supporting. Right? That's an example of leadership too.
Now, with that one, really quickly before you go to the next tier. I'm assuming in that situation with that teacher, with the committees, students were on multiple committees, right?
They rotate through them.
Okay.
So the whole class is divided up, and then you would have 3 or 4 kids on each of the committees, and then after 4 weeks, they would rotate. And so
That
he
way
had
they're
to
a part
teach
of
them
all of them at some point in the year.
So I would almost say that was collaboration, because then he taught them how to be on the next committee. What would have brought it up a level would be that the student committees got together and they taught the next group. Do you see the difference? Collaboration is ultimately the teacher still does a lot of the things. And again, collaboration is amazing, right?
Yeah.
Listening is amazing. Good, better, best. And then leadership would be really empowering those kids to take ownership of what that looks like and have a central role in it with you as a facilitator. The problem with this, and it goes back to your mindset question, is we so often think they can't do it, or I don't know what, or we're scared about doing that. Like, I'm the teacher. This is not for students.
Fear.
But I think when we let that go, some really cool things could happen. And of course, we're the teacher in the room with the content knowledge. But again, how we get there can, in a great way, be determined by kids' strengths, kids' ideas, kids' needs, kids' learning differences too.
Yeah. And that is by far the most difficult thing to do, is the letting go of the fear. And we tend to teach the way we were taught, and we tend to teach in the manner in which we learn best as individuals.
And I have learned that this year working with pre-service teachers, right? No matter how much, I had them for 9 weeks, and I was modeling in every moment what a student-centered classroom looks like.
Yeah.
And then they went into their placement, and some of them were incorporating the ideas, but for the most part, they jumped into what it is that they were traditionally taught.
Yeah.
So it was like coming back and then saying, okay, let's talk about this again. Well, what were some, and that was my observation, right? Like, how could this be more student-centered? Because you're right, that's our default.
Yeah, because it works for us. It works for us.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we have some fans and friends on the other side of the camera there. Yeah. So this is not your first time in San Antonio, right?
It is not. No.
Okay. All right. What's been your favorite meal so far?
Okay, because I didn't come with you on that food tour, I have to say I haven't had a favorite meal.
Really?
No.
Okay.
No, it's been a very subpar culinary experience for me. So I'm gonna have to get some recommendations.
Okay, I got recommendations.
Okay, amazing.
I can tell you right now, Bree on the other side, she's holding something. Brianna Hodges, for those of you who are not watching, and Hillary, they went to. I'm sorry, my mouth watered on mic. There's a pizza place not too far called Dough, and they have the most delicious burrata that you can obviously tell that they're holding there, which is really, really, really good.
Okay,
they have some
good
seasonal things going on. I'm just saying.
All right.
It might not be, and it's literally just a walk away.
Okay,
All
good
right.
to know.
Sounds good. Now, in the age of AI, and it's crazy, like 2.5 years, just 2.5 years.
I know.
In the educational landscape, the entire world and the entire workforce, and that has just changed so much. In a world with AI and generative AI and large language models, and now that every single tool, especially here at ISTE 2025, every single tool, whether we want to believe it or not, is incorporating AI in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
How difficult or how easy is it to build in student voice with the addition of artificial intelligence in education?
Well, okay. So a couple of different, when I heard that question, my mind went in a couple of different directions. So we know that we're limited in many ways in terms of the age that kids could use AI.
Correct.
So where there is parental consent, and or when you have a system where you're
Student data
allowing
privacy
students,
agreement,
absolutely,
yes, and that sandbox.
Yeah. So I think in terms of, not really in terms of amplifying student voice, but I think about student agency. So students being able to propel their own learning.
As a matter of fact, we've said student agency a couple times, but believe it or not, there's some people who don't really know what the term means. Can you define it in the best way you can right now?
I I would say when I think of student agency, I think of the ability for a student to be able to self-direct in some ways their own learning, to have a certain amount of autonomy.
Yeah.
So where we can, again, because of privacy laws, I would say it would be so empowering for students to use AI to give them feedback, very specific feedback on something that they're doing in order to then improve their work, to be able to give it to me. And then be very transparent about doing that, right? So what are the strengths? And some kids are already doing this. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses in this paper that I should focus on? And then I advocate for, make sure then they show you when they have a conversation with you about what the paper they've done, what was the prompt that you used, because you have to cite it.
Yeah.
But here I have kids who are now instead of waiting for me, one teacher, right?
One human.
With 30 kids. You now have sort of taken a next step in your own learning direction. So that's the one thing I was thinking of.
Okay.
But the other thing that that is perplexing, and it goes back to sitting on that at that policy table without kids. I ask whenever I'm around kids, how are you using AI? Tell me more, right?
Yeah.
Being curious, not judgmental, because I feel like we make so many assumptions that we're only focusing on kids using AI to cheat. And they are.
Yeah.
Some of them, I mean,
and so are the adults.
They have had conversations with me about taking a picture of a test question and then being able to write it. Like, those are the frank conversations that kids have had with me.
Yeah.
But I feel like if we're not having those conversations with kids, we're really missing out. And we're also missing out on the cool things. So again, I asked that question. I was walking by a student and he put down his laptop and I said, "What? No, that was AI. What were you doing there?" And he goes, "Oh, nothing." I said, "No, Adrian, I'm really interested in what you were doing."
Anytime a student says nothing, that's a red flag.
But listen, he said, "I am creating something called EcoVision, which is an AI bot which will allow low vision people to access web resources just by voice." And I was like, "And you put your computer down? Like, what? Tell me more about this." And so here are these two kids who are entrepreneurs thinking about how they can leverage AI to make the world a better place. And I would have never known that if I never asked that question.
The question.
So
in a non-judgmental way.
Exactly. So that is, I think, the power of asking kids about how they're using AI. And I understand that as an educator, I know a lot about AI. I've been doing stuff around. So there are some teachers who know nothing about AI. But having those initial conversations about how might you use AI might propel me as a teacher who knows nothing, and maybe I'm afraid, maybe to learn a little bit more about that. And then how powerful would it be for those students to see my teacher learned something from me?
Yep.
And she went out and and then you be transparent about that was really exciting.
Yeah.
I want to try it. Like, help me. It's kind of what we did with TechSperts. Like, do you remember using TechSperts in your class?
Yeah.
So I did Minecraft EDU for lots of years, creating sustainable cities in Minecraft. I do not know how to use Minecraft at all.
That doesn't mean you can't facilitate.
At all.
Right.
But I'm like, who knows how to use Minecraft? I've got 4 kids. You are my TechSperts. Put their names on the board. They're the ones. That's amplifying student voice right there.
Right there.
So you're leveraging their strengths, their ability to do stuff to support what you're doing. I don't need to know Minecraft. I just need to know what my curriculum expectations are, what I want them to know, understand, and be able to do
what are the
in order to meet them.
Exactly.
So if I don't know Minecraft, but Lorenzo, my grade 9 kid, knows it inside out, then that's the perfect way to leverage what your kids know, and to be able to meet them where they are, so they feel like they are a valuable member. And sometimes those are the kids who don't thrive academically.
Yeah.
Right?
Because they've never been given the opportunity to voice their opinion or to teach something new or
teach something that different,
Yes.
right? Like a kid who might really love to dabble with AI, but isn't a straight A student. So doesn't meet with success, doesn't feel like a leader, but might be a class leader when I'm looking at it in a slightly different way. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does make sense. That's a lot to unpack there.
I'm sorry.
No, that's good. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing.
Okay.
Yeah. You've given us a lot to think about, a lot to kind of process and think, and especially if you're, I mean, this episode's being recorded July 1st, 2025. So if you're listening to this as it is released, then you're probably still on summer break and probably making the shift to start getting ready to go back to school if you're not already there. And this is a perfect way and a perfect opportunity for those teachers, especially pre-service, like you mentioned, that you're working with a lot, to start thinking about how they're going to implement. How am I going to do that?
Yeah.
How am I going to do that? Have I done this before? Probably not. If so, what are the steps I need to take? What does it look like? What does it not look like? And then that way we can do that and start doing that at the beginning of the year, rather than rather than later.
Can I interject with something I'm super excited about?
You just did. So, I love it.
I'm
Go.
sorry. So when we published this book, we were kind of wondering, student teacher book clubs, because that happens. And so we have teacher discussion questions. But recently there have been a few superintendents who have student advisory councils.
All right.
Who are doing a joint student leader book club.
Oh.
I'm like,
okay.
What? How powerful is that? So what are we doing in our district that aligns with what Karen is saying?
Okay.
What are teachers doing that aligns with what Jennifer or some of the educational people are saying? And what might we do differently? But what a great springboard for student-led conversations about school.
What it looks like.
Yeah.
What we need to ditch.
Isn't that cool?
What we need to tweak.
Anyway, it was like a marketing moment, but I think it's so cool.
I love it. How can people connect with you, learn more about the book and the work that you do?
Amazing. So the easiest way is to go to jcasatodd.com. You'll have a link to all my socials. You can email me there. All my socials usually start with @jcasatodd, but jcasatodd.com. You'll find everything.
All right. And all that information is going to be in the show notes. That way you're not, if you're in your jog right now, maybe you're driving to work or what have you, or maybe you're going to Tim Hortons.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah,
nice.
See, I know my stuff. And you're worried about pulling over or maybe taking your notes or what have you. Just click on the show notes when you get a chance. Do it in a safe manner, please. Don't do this while you're driving. And you can connect with Jen, learn more about her work, maybe purchase a couple hundred copies of that book, and then connect and get your questions answered and start kind of looking at student voice a little bit differently and not looking at it only, but starting to implement that in the classroom.
Amazing. Thank you.
All right.
And when you come to Toronto, I have some culinary delights for
Waiting
you too.
on the invite.
All right.
Just saying.
Any day, friend.
Okay, I do have one last question for you that I ask of about 99.99% of the guests.
Oh.
It would be 100, but sometimes I forget. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
Most difficult question you'll be asked all conference long.
Now I'm nervous.
Okay.
Okay.
And I need you to go with your gut. Don't think about it. Don't just go. All right?
Okay. Go ahead. I'm ready.
Corn tortilla or flour tortilla?
Oh my gosh, corn.
Okay. That's what I'm talking about right there. Round of applause for that. I'm team corn all the way.
Woo!
So, yes. Awesome. Well, Jen, I'd like to personally thank you for all the work that you do with our teachers, our students, everyone in those 108 buildings that you worked with, and then you're now shaping those future buildings and other districts within your province and in your area and all over the world with the work that you're doing with pre-service teachers. The book, shout out to, what's the student's name again?
Karen Fan.
Karen, that's right. Big shout out to you, Karen. We need to have you on the show. Maybe you guys can meet for the first time on the show.
Yeah. Oh, that would be so great.
That would be hot.
Yeah.
That would be hot.
I so appreciate you and all the work that you do too. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your conference. Have a great Canada Day.
Thank you.
And safe travels.
Thank you.